All right, so following up on the review of the syllabus, this is part two. Notice that we're now in the course policy section, and here all I will say is that uh, to use these drops strategically, use them. Don't just miss them for the sake of missing. Use them for when you have issues with computer, the internet, when you have to travel, work, or even when you get sick. So make sure that you actually do keep them there just in case you need them. There are other things you need to read here on your own, please. The other thing I want to mention is about drops and withdrawal. As you might already know, you can drop the class within the first 2 weeks, and then you get probably a refund, and also you don't have a W in your transcript. Now, after the second week, you can no longer withdraw or drop the class without a W, and so in that case, you still have until week number 8. Also, check the calendar on the college website. You can withdraw within weeks 2 and all the way through week 8, and you don't get you probably don't get a refund. I don't know the exact policy, but you will get to drop, and you will get a W in your transcript. But beyond week 8, you cannot drop the class regardless of where you're at in terms of the grade. And I cannot drop you either. I don't have the ability to drop anybody even if I wanted to, beyond week 8. So keep those dates in mind. There's other resources that you might want to take advantage of, including, like I said before, I think I said it before in a previous video, that there's tutors you can actually take advantage of at Foothill. Here's some information on that. There's also some other items that you might want to use, or you may need to use, for example, the computer lab, if you don't have some software that you need for this class. Remember, this class is purely online, so we assume you have the tools, but if you don't, you can go to the computer lab. This is what Classroom Center, this is Student Services. You can actually read this on your own. I will just mention a few other things here, mainly the calendar. The calendar here, as you can see, you can view it right on the page here. But to do a better view of it, I have included a link to the Google Doc. So when I click on that, I can see the whole thing more easily, and I can even download it from here into my own PC or computer in different formats, including Excel. Okay, if you want to do that. Normally, what I do is I set up the calendar on a weekly basis with showing the date of the Monday of that week. So as you can see, week 1, the Monday would be April 10. Week 2 will be April 17, and so on. The topics for each of those weeks on the next column. For example, in week number 1, you have the orientation right now. You will do module 0, and I would hope that you were done actually by Tuesday, but if not, hopefully by Friday. The chapter or the content coverage begins with chapter 1 in week 1, which is the intro. Here's the textbook reading, which will be chapter 1, obviously. Bio posting here as well. And so I guess this one should have been actually up here for other module, but it's okay. This will be again due by Friday, and then the quiz 1, meaning quiz for chapter 1, based on your reading, is due on Sunday of week number 1 in my finance lab. And notice that every due time is 11:59 p.m. unless otherwise noted here in the class calendar or as otherwise changed via an announcement. But for the most part, it will be 11:59 p.m. On that date shown. Chapter 2 is week number 2, and so on. So you can keep moving down. I also have some other things here too. I'm going to remind you about other deadlines. Notice that week 5 is midterm number 1. I'll send an announcement out previous to this, a few days previous to this, with some information about the midterm exam, so you will get some notification about it. Then you also have the case study instructions come out around week 9 or so. Midterm number 2 will be Sunday, June 18th, and finally at the end you've got the case study submission on that Thursday, and then final exam would be on Friday. Again, I will send out announcements before each exam with some information about each exam itself. Now, except for the final exam is actually fixed by the college. It has to be done in that week. And on the final exam day, it's only one day, from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. So make sure that you can actually carve out a time for the final exam on that day. Now, for the other two exams, the two midterm exams, they're accessible over a 2 to 3 day period. So that's a little easier to schedule. And normally I straddle at least one day over the weekend and then one day over a week. I'm sorry, over a weekend day and another one day over the week, so that people that are, maybe that have work over the week can do it on that weekend day or vice versa. So with that in mind, let's move on down the review. This was the class calendar. And again, remember that the class calendar is the one that controls every due date. Now, the campus site or my finance lab may actually have other dates, but that's just for the convenience of allowing students to do work on the weekend, let's say, or extend the due date for something for whatever reason. Bottom line is that you always look at the class calendar as the actual document that shows when things are due. Other things that you may want to look into, importantly, look at what it means to have teamwork, a note about the class calendar, point system, bump ups to your grades. Important. People always ask me about these things at the end of the quarter, so please do review these on your own. There's some other information here on some of the sort of the philosophy of the class, and also some responsibilities from you, the student, as well. And so please review that on your own, and hopefully it will be useful. Take care. Enjoy the class.